Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. First up, as always, CoinWatch. And as you know, Bitcoin's still just doing its thing. Up and down, and kind of leveling off around, mid 2000s. Ether, on the other hand, has been a slow descent downwards. How far this is going to go, who knows, but it sure is a descent down. Slidecoin's also been pretty slow descent, but I'm sure one of these days will pick up. Unlike DGB, which is in the pits, and it's still hilarious to watch. Ubit's average waves should be improving with the whole partnership with DLED. ARC, not really doing much. ICN, in the same boat as ARC. And then, you have your million ICOs that, if you got on, you would have made some profit, except Bancor. That's one of the few ones that is actually unprofitable overall compared to other, recently launched ICOs. So, and it's mainly because Ether died, and Bancor was kind of begging on the height of Ether. That's just in other things, though. So, onwards with the news, as always. There wasn't that much news, interesting news this week. It was pretty bland. It was stuff that wouldn't concern everybody or just kind of irrelevant. What? I managed to find, I say 2 good ones and 2 whatever ones. So we're going to start with one whatever one. Coinbase apparently added 1 million new users in June. And, that kind of signals some of the previous things we've been talking about, how the market's still pretty immature in comparison to what it can be in the future. Will it reach that 5 trillion? Who knows? But it still definitely has room to grow. And this Coinbase statistic is just showing it has plenty of room to grow. Next up, AlphaBay. Market disappears. If you don't know what this is, this was a relatively big darknet marketplace. Just think of it like Silk Road. One of the spiritual successors of Silk Road, basically. And this basically was multi-millions still held in it or whatever. And people are freaking out because it's been in maintenance for a while, and they suspect the people ran off with the money, which, considering this is a dark net, Tor kind of website, that's not too far off from what probably actually is happening, that they're running off with the money afterwards. They got enough transactions going through, they felt like it's time to pull the plug. Or instead of just them thinking, they got a peak traffic or whatever, maybe they were getting a lot of heat because it was getting more popular and more popular. So they decided to run away with what they could and to avoid the feds. And some people might think you really can't avoid people with Bitcoin because you can track it down, to track the movement down. This is true to extent. But this is kind of a big if they manage to transfer it into a different crypto, or even somehow manage to sell it on a local kind of thing, they transfer it from their stuff to a local wallet or something, maybe they can still pretty much get away with it. And we'll see. Really, you can't really do much about these exit scams when you don't know who is doing the exit. And even with the ones that kind of had people leave traces of who they were, the Moolah one that was recently mentioned, it took that 3, almost 4 years to bring that guy to justice after running away with a bunch of money. So something that's dark web associated would take even longer. So if you're one of the small amount of my listeners who are fiddling with the dark web and have had money like tied up in AlphaBay, probably shouldn't expect it to return. That's just my opinion. Next up, another news, which is apparently there was like a Parody ICO that was just making a statement of how ridiculous these ICOs are. And from the article I read, it got $18,000, and then this was just wasn't even a serious ICO. Like, and that's like a statement to ICOs in general. Sure, this guy obviously wasn't pushing it super hard or going to get a lot of promotions because it was a joke from the start, but considering just that, it just proves that people will throw money at anything when it has like endless cycle of hype, and ICOs are still in the cycle of hype. And I think there will be until another like major ICO like scam or something along those lines. Either like a major scam or heavier regulation, which is, usually I'm against like a lot of regulation, but you definitely kind of need regulation when you're dealing with ICOs because a lot can go wrong and people just lose out on their money. Like, in my opinion, at least, I think these ICOs are like worse than a flash crash. Because at least with a flash crash, it's like you're 90% responsible for what happened because you didn't set your settings correctly and like had everything correctly in place. Whereas these ICOs are, you put your faith into something you thought would work, and it just turned out to be a scam from the very beginning. Like, I think that's kind of super harsh when it's like promoting some kind of technology behind it, and some of these people like get invested, like, oh, that's a cool thing, and it needs to be made, and it just turns out, nope, it's actually a scam. So, on to the next thing. Yeah, this one's kind of related to the last topic. It was in the recent 2 weeks, 2 South Korean exchanges were hacked, and I know on one of them a lot of personal information was also stolen along with like the actual, I think, personal information was stolen along with some of the funds. So that's one of the things that kind of like ties in with the AlphaBay of not putting too much or not like holding everything in a third party, kind of like have control over your own coins and only trade a small amount of what you actually own. Like, most of your coins should probably be in Bitcoin, since that's pretty reliable. I'm sure like a month or two ago, a few weeks ago, people would be saying, I'm going to have it in Bitcoin and like 70% Bitcoin or something like that, like 20% Ethereum. But obviously that's a no. I'm on the camp of have most of your primary funds in Bitcoin, and whatever you're willing to totally lose, like, you shouldn't have money in the exchange that you think will turn into something in a few years or anything like that. Your exchange money should be money you could expect that just disappears into thin air and won't be there anymore. Because a lot of things can happen with these exchanges. As you can see, that they can be hacked. They just have poor security. And it's not always their fault. Cybersecurity is definitely one of those things that is just a never-ending race. And like newer startups and things along that nature can't always keep up with the latest and greatest hacking tools. Alright, so that's all the news for this time around. And we're on to the final section. I feel like this is going to be a shorter episode than most, just because lots has been going on and not much interesting has been happening news-wise. But this section is going to be very, very relatable to some people at least. And this Mentality Monday is going to be all about like taking a step back and kind of using outlets to like clear all the bad things out. Sometimes you're there, you're dealing with things, you're dealing with reality, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And not all the times you have problems that you can talk to people about. And sometimes, that like swells up within people. So, what am I going with this? Easy. Writing it out, just, you don't even have to like keep it. You could destroy the writing afterwards. But just like putting all those things that worry you or that thoughts that you like stuff away onto like paper, like written, not like a virtual journal. Write it down. You'll be surprised how that kind of like helps you a bit. It's not gonna be like some magic pill that cures all the thoughts or whatever, but it will definitely like help soothe them a bit. That you got it out and you wrote it down, because it kind of like this. It's kind of the same wavelength as telling somebody without having to deal with the backlash of them either telling it to the world or it leaking out by accident or having like any kind of external come in and just mess everything up. That's why I said you can just write it, get rid of it. You don't have to like keep it in a journal. Some people can keep it in a journal if you have like some really high risk mental issues going on there. You definitely want to throw it away. Just saying. And just get your thoughts out there. That's a good way that I've personally found to deal with any kind of negativity. So sometimes all you got is yourself. Sometimes. But you guys got me. Especially if you would join the Discord. So, this has been a shorter episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. In the future, I hope to find some time to improve upon, maybe do something great. But because of varying factors, it's just gonna be at this level for a while. It'd be great if you guys actually, throw out some feedback that probably won't be solved because I'm a little busy. But it'd be great if you join like the Discord community. It's just me and one guy right now. That's chill. But it'd be even better if you guys go to the website and join. Hit that Discord link at the top. Cause that's one thing that bothers to add to the website. I don't even update the podcast on the website that much anymore. But I'm still doing podcasts every Monday and Thursday. So tune in Thursday, boys and girls, for the next Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. And PSA, I'm sure some people will be like, you sound a little down and out. Don't worry. It's all Gucci, guys. See you next time.